slides? Nice. Okay, so first of all, I am Paula Birocchi, and I will be presenting in name of the whole team. So my team is composed by Xingui, Roberto Garcia, Lily Jones, and Elena Blum. And I'd like to thank everyone that contributed in the Team C, and also the facilitator, which was really, really helpful during the process, Elsa Kuller. I didn't see her here, but I'd like to thank you a lot. And well, the project that we have chosen after so many discussions was the impact of the droughts in Amazon watershed and applying artificial intelligence approach in this problem. So a contextualization here, we know that currently, like nowadays, Amazon watershed is suffering a strong drought, and it has been related in the literature and the news with the El Nino, also the deforestation that has been happening in the Amazon. And well, the El Nino is also related with low precipitation in the region, which causes a lot of droughts. And we know also that we have the effects of climate change and global warming in the region. And in Negro River, which is one of the tributary rivers in Amazon, it reaches the lowest level in 120 years when the measurements began. So since the measurements started, this is the lowest level that we could see. And we could see that really impacting images took just like in the last months and last days in the region. So you can see that that's really impacting this region. Our motivation is the consequences of these droughts. So, we know that these droughts is increasing the river water temperature, and this is causing biology loss. So here you can see in the upper figure, you can see the boto vermelho, which is an endemic species over there. Is like considered as a freshwater dolphin, although it's not a dolphin. And we have also the largest fish in the world, the pirarucu fish in the second figure here on the right side, giving the importance of this region. And we have a lot of fish loss, so it's impacting fishermen and local communities, and also, of course, the lack of water sources for this community. So our motivation is also impacting local communities and also impacts the local and global climate. And it is a transdisciplinary study which involves abiotic factors, biological factors, and also we could use traditional and local knowledge about these species and what is happening there to help us in this study so people can get involved. Our scientific question is, in which environmental situations does the Amazon River waters reach 38 degrees Celsius? And why is that? So we know that temperatures in the river are reaching almost 40 degrees in the surface. So we want to look into situations where the river are reaching these high temperatures. And then if we know in which situations or which environmental parameters are affecting that, we can understand better the boto vermelho population and also the fishes loss in the region, and maybe have a way that we can predict this loss, or a way that we would know why and what environmental parameters is causing that. So our group, we didn't have a lot of time as the other groups to develop. So a lot of preliminary analysis, but we did a lot of research about our data to include in a data cube usage. So we have like this long list here of probable abiotic factors that we want to include in our artificial intelligence analysis. And so we want to consider the precipitation, of course, because we want to see what is the impact of the droughts. We need also the river discharge at Amazon River points, so we can know how does it correlate with the other variables. We also have access to the climate indexes from from NOAA and also other resources. We want to look at the sea surface temperature as well and the air temperature at 2 meters in the region. We can use also meteorological stations. We have also some influence of the sediments in the that can impact the fish. So and the fish distribution, it's impacted by that as well. And of course, the deforestation, which will be very, very important as a predictor of the temperature in the river as well. And after doing this analysis, the idea is that we can somehow qualitatively maybe qualitatively quantify, like compare actually, how these river water temperatures are changing and how does it affect the species occurrence and also the boto vermelho population and also the fishes in the region. So we could use fish stack and fish base and JBIF, BIF as our sources of data. In our artificial intelligence approach, we have chosen two actually, because the decision tree, which is a supervised learning method, would be used in order to check under which environmental conditions the river surface temperature would be warmed above 38 degrees. And the other method, which is the random forest, which is a ensemble machine learning method, it will be used in order to rank the variables that most explain the warming of the river surface temperatures. So we have some preliminary analysis and some plots. We would like to apologize like if the plot doesn't look so good, but that's what we have until now. So here we have the Amazon watershed, just showing you the latitude and longitude where it is located. So here you have the water river mouth, and here you have so many contributors in the region. And we also have the opportunity to look into the boto vermelho occurrences. So you can see this is the Amazon River. You can see that all around, you can see the influence and the occurrences of these species in the region. And the place where it has been recorded the highest droughts in the last months is just over here, close to Solimões River. We also have looked into air temperature at 2 meters, which is the blue line in this slide. We can see also the ENSO index and also the precipitation in green line. So basically, here is showing that when we have a strong ENSO, we have a strong air temperature, and we do have low precipitation in the region. And here in the plot in the right, you can see some plots about correlations. So this is in the first one, in the y-axis, the temperature of in 2 meters, ENSO, and on the bottom, you can see the precipitation. And in the x-axis, you can see temperature, the ENSO, and precipitation. So here is just showing you again what this figure is showing. So when you have strong ENSO, you have strong temperatures, higher temperatures, and you have low precipitation, you have high temperatures in air. Also, we have compared some spatial distribution of the droughts or decrease in the precipitation in some periods. So the first panel in the upper panel on the left, you can see El Nino event, an El Nino period, where you have low precipitation. And we have looked into the same period for 2016, just after the El Nino occurrence. And we have compared the same periods here for 2022 and 2023 in the bottom panels. So actually, we can see that we are really not in a so decrease precipitation event. So what would we expect in the next months? Will it be a low precipitation like that in 2015 El Nino or not? So that's, if we are looking in a El Nino event, we would have this really low precipitation in the region, which is very common during El Nino events, by the way. And here is the time series showing the periods from the previous plots. So in gray, you see the time series of the mean precipitation in that area for 2015, 2016. And in red, you see the same period of the year, but for 2022 and 2023. And so you can evidently see that in the last months, the red line is showing a decrease in the precipitation. So that's what we have until now. And well, we have a really high potential impact and engagement in this project, because this study has both local and global impacts in understanding one of the largest rivers in the world. And it has also engagement with fishermen and local communities to learn with them about the local impacts. And if you are interested, our GitHub page and code scripts and all the information are in our GitHub. And we also have a lot of good discussion with Jamboards provided with Elsa in our Google Drive folder. I'd like to thank you, the SL Hackathon organization, the Group C, and Elsa for this work. Thank you.
Thank you. This is wonderful, important, interesting work. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing your code. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
We have time for questions.
I mean, these are probably too detailed questions, but you have measurements of those dolphins in different places. There's a big stretch of the Amazon in the middle that doesn't have the observations. Is that just because it's super hard to get to, or are there no dolphins there?
I can answer this question. So we loaded the dolphin occurrence data from GBIF. And we, so I think there are like more than about 1,000 occurrences. And as early as 1984 or something, and as late as 2023. And we found that there are more occurrences in later years. Likely it's just because it wasn't really, didn't really cost too much attention in the early days. But when people realized this species is in danger, then the people started like funding more scientific research to locate them. And it's likely that people, like one individual will be spotted in multiple times because they are big animals and that they migrate along the rivers. And also there are 3 different populations as I searched. So what you saw, like the distributions in Ecuador or some Western countries, those belong, and also along with the Amazon River, that those were, belong to one population. And there are 2 subpopulations down the south. They don't really interact that much. So yeah, they are. So wherever you can see the species, they are just within the rivers. And I'm not a biologist. I try to understand that the biology as much as I can. But yeah, you're right. Like they are not, it's actually a widely distributed population species. It's not very abundant. And yes, it's geographically restricted to 3 regions in the area. That's I guess that's the best that I can answer.
No, thank you. That's super cool.
So first of all, thank you for doing this work. I'm from the Amazon, so I really enjoyed to hear a little bit more of what's happening, and I've been reading a lot about this recent events. So anyway, thank you for doing that. So what I was going to ask mainly is that your words about how those droughts are going to affect some of the fish biomass or any kind of specific species in the future. But the occurrence data, they are mostly, they are over a large temporal scale between, I don't know, since the 30s, I don't know, the beginning of the last century until now. And they are not closer tied with your temporal events that are the droughts that are happening now. Do you have any idea on how you're gonna overcome this lack of effect, observed effect on drought versus biodiversity?
Well, so we didn't have so much time to look into time series data, but we do found something about the fish and also the Boto Vermelho population time series in the fish base website. Maybe it will not be enough in this case. Like that's why I told that we probably will do a qualitative comparison between the river water temperature and these populations of species, because that was a limitation of this study. Because they ideally, when the group were discussing, the idea would be to correlate directly the abiotic factors with the fish or Boto Vermelho populations. But we found that we didn't found enough data to work with these populations. So this is a challenging, because we will be able to do the artificial intelligence using the river water temperature as our that what we want to predict. But I think the big challenging here will be to collect this data, maybe from local community or from the Amazon government, maybe from the cities or from the state government, and have access to this time series, or maybe this data about the depths of the population, because this is something challenging.
So at least you know that this might be a problem. Just sorry, Laura, just finishing. So sorry. There is some database of long-term monitorings. There is large institutions of research in the Amazon, such as INPA or GILDI or the Federal University there. And there is the Amazon Fish Project. There is long-term monitoring there, and there is others as well. So anyway, just feel free to reach out if you want to know a little bit more of those databases.
Yeah, would be nice. Thank you.
I also wanted to thank you for doing this work. I think the Amazon region is so important and fascinating, and it's an amazing place to study these kinds of questions. And I was thinking the river water temperature, that's a really interesting kind of metric to focus in on. And I can definitely see the impacts on the fish population, but I was also thinking about indirect effects that might cycle back up into the hydrologic cycle of the Amazon that has, this amazing flying river phenomenon that waters the southern part of South America. And I just wondered if you thought there was potential to kind of expand your model into some of those more regional climatic dimensions as well. I just think it's an interesting, the the river temperature is such a clear and sort of understandable indicator, but it makes me wonder how it's connected to other things also.
Right. So we picked 38 degrees Celsius. That's because that's the temperature, the threshold that people found a large amount of death of that dolphin species. Climate change might affect different species differently, and you're right that that threshold should be very different across the species, and that would be one thing that we can do. But with this approach, with exploring the temperature with the available data sets and also machine learning technologies, I think it's very likely that we're able to apply the same approach to different species, and maybe also find the different temperature threshold that can largely affect the biology of the region.
Yeah, I'd like to add as well. That's a good question. We didn't thought so much about that, but Lily Jones, which is also in Team C, she's an hydrologist, and she told us about this, that maybe we could include other abiotic factors as well in this machine learning technique to cover that. So maybe we could see the soil, we could include vegetation, we could include other factors that could contribute to that. But I think that's a very good point. We could incorporate that maybe in a second project or in the same project, I don't know.
Wonderful. Any other questions? This was absolutely fantastic. I wanted to thank you all for these presentations. Seriously, it's mind-blowing what you have been able to achieve in one day. Now, let me rephrase. What you have done, period. Let's leave aside that you only had one day. This is amazing. It's wonderful ideas. Congratulations. Thank you for your work. Don't even know what to say. Thank you. And